I am Mr. Michael Adams, and this is Keep Inspiration Alive. Thank you for joining. From to building a business, helping people, spending 5 hours today helping someone, building a business revolving around helping people, coaching, becoming an author, writer, content creator, being more vocal, visible, and seen, sharing my story. I can tell you right now, it wasn't always this way. No, sirree, Bob. It sure wasn't. Let me bring you back to a story dating back about 6 years ago. I was at my rock bottom. I was near death's door. Getting off, I was on methamphetamines at the time, passing out, laying in my pool of my own blood as I woke up. Passed out 5 times that year. Lack of nourishment. High. My mind completely shot. Nervous system blown out in every direction. Poof! Blow away! And I woke up in a pile, in a pool of my own blood. Realizing, thinking that I had just gotten attacked, beat up. Someone broke into my house. Thought someone was killing me. To my amazement, no one was there. I realized I had passed out and broke my nose and laid in my apartment alone, vulnerable, scared. Blood everywhere, all over the place. My nose sideways. Too scared and paranoid to call the police. That's what happens when you're on drugs, right? I wasn't sure how to get out of this or what to do. Calling my friends. See if they could help. I know they could help. They could for sure help, right? As I call them up, they laugh at me. I had a few laugh at me, tell me that it's okay. All right. Most people didn't answer. All right. Too scared. I had birds that were freaking out. Right? I had one person answer the call. They were too far away. They told me to call the police and the ambulance. I said no. Because I didn't want them to know that I was on drugs. Methamphetamines. I was too paranoid. I laid there and I literally thought I was dying. I could not move. I could barely get up. There was so much blood just all around me. I did muster up enough energy to get on my hands and knees and climb to my front door and just unlock it, just in case, like the ambulance would come for some reason. If like my downstairs neighbor may have heard a what donk, I don't know. And so as I laid there, I really contemplated my life, what my decisions led me to get to this point. This is the 5th time I had passed out that year. I was very undernourished, very underweight, skin and bones, right? I'd made a decision to change. I ended up getting on. I started to go to NA and AA and realized that didn't really seem to resonate with me. It wasn't really working. I found difficulties within that. I saw people who would kind of lie and talk about being sober when they were still getting high. It was discouraging. I then found a group online and through a Facebook group. And we were people who, actually, let me date this story back a little bit further. So I started looking for help online. I wasn't really sure who to turn to. I was really embarrassed. I was really ashamed. And I started to go onto different communities online. So as a former punk rocker, I like to say as a former punk rocker, I kind of changed my ways a little bit. I was really negative within that, but I went in that punk rock group community and I reached out and I'm like, hey, you know what? Other punkers, they're heroin addicts, they're methamphetamine addicts. If anyone would get me, they would get me, right? And I just said like, hey, I am an addict and I don't really know where to turn to. And I figured I'd just reach out for help here. Why not? And someone, to my amazement, wrote me, said like, "Hey, I saw your post. That's very of you to open up like that. We have a group. Me and my friends have just started, like literally just started. It's a brand new group. It's so small that it's not even a group. It's just a group chat message, and it's just a few of us. Would you like to join it?" Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. And I ended up joining that group. And within that group, I started to open up. It was a small group of people. I wasn't even sure like what direct message was. I was very new to like the whole Facebook thing. I didn't really get on too much, so just to kind of browse around on different groups and things that I was looking at. So I was new to this whole like online computer, like even how to use a computer, really how to use a lot of this stuff. I had very intentional purposes of why I got online, and I'd only get on for like those reasons and get off. So like really branching out, and especially to share my story, was a huge deal. Huge ordeal, huge ordeal. And I started talking to these people and opening up because I was at pretty much my rock bottom, not really caring anymore about, you know, like I got to tell somebody. I got to tell somebody. And so I started opening up to these people. These people are like all scattered around the United States and in other parts of the world. Like if they want to judge me, who cares? Like I don't know them. They don't know me. These are strangers. Strangers. So like, who cares if they judge me, right? So I opened up. I started talking to them. To my amazement, we ended up having a lot in common. We started sharing our stories together. We went against the norm of what the context was for NA and A. We didn't follow by any. We were kind of like the outcasts of outcasts. It was kind of impressive to see like how open they were about talking to one another about their drug use and how much they all of us were very determined to get clean. We then turned that into a group page, and we started to gather more people, and we started to talk. And through that, the person who created the group, um, he ended up reaching out to me. I didn't even know that there was like, I didn't understand how pages worked, group pages. I didn't understand any of this stuff. This is all new to me. And one of the guys reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm the group. I'm the like guy who like created." I thought it was like some kind of business or something like that, and like some professionals trying to reach out to me. I really was clueless to all this. I'm like, "Oh, hey, crap, am I in trouble?" You know? And he's like, "Hey, man, I just want to like say, I literally thought it was like some kind of like business organization or something. I didn't realize it was just other people like me and him. You know, me and other people. You know." Like that just started this. I just wanted to create some kind of forum to create help. And he's like, "Hey man, so like I really like you, man. Like you're really funny, you're really entertaining. And like I'm gonna be like opening this up a little bit further. You're like one of the only people that like I kind of like see who's like seems to be kind of like trustworthy. I'm a little weary about other people." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, how so?" And he's like, "Well, I have this as a group chat and they can kick me out. If they kick me out, this is the one that I started. So I need someone to kind of like know that they got my back to put me back in case they kick me out." And I'm like, "Oh." And then we ended up creating, then I'm like, "Yeah, I got your back." And he's like, "Yeah, I should probably like add to this." I started to see like how group pages were designed and made and like how it was like started from scratch, like how someone just out there in the world, I got to know this guy. And it turns out this guy is just like another guy like me. He just wanted help and he couldn't figure out how to get the help he needed. And so he's like, "Well, I'm just going to create something and design it the way that I want to get help because I can't seem to find the help that I need because this NA and AA crap doesn't seem to work for me." Same thing as me, kind of angry, kind of bitter, kind of upset at the whole thing. And then so like he kind of created it. And then we ended up vibing together and we ended up making a group page, and we expanded it from there. And through that, we ended up bringing in other people. And that was a timeline when I was getting off the drugs. And I was very open, very vocal, very vulnerable about what I was going through. And I switched it from, I just needed to like get away from the thought process of being on the drugs. And so I talked to people through that process, right? And through that process, people started to reach out to me, hearing my story, opening up to me. Later down the line, people ended up like writing to me saying that, "Hey man, you saved my life. You reaching out, like you being open, so open. I'd like to share my story with you because of your vulnerability and openness, you shifted the way that I thought about what it was that I'm going through and the dynamics of it. I want to let you know that I had a gun next to my head that night, but I remember hearing your story of what you were going through. You changed the way I thought about life and the way to go move forward. I want to thank you because if it wasn't for that night and watching you over all this time, I would have been not alive right now. I would have killed myself. Wow, that's very impressive. Now, spending the time, like moving forward, I've kind of created this dynamic of helping people. We're opening up, sharing my story, and helping other people share their story. You can do it too. You can share your story and to open up and know that there's more to life to get off the drugs. Through this time, I then ended up because of helping other people, shifting, changing the story within my head, right? And also turning it around to help other people, helped me, in a sense, to get off the drugs and yeah, just it all heroin, methamphetamines, all that just gone. And it was through the process of like helping other people. So I'm learning to tell my story a little bit more because I want to inspire you guys that you guys can do it too. You guys are the ones that it's the story that you tell yourself. And so it's really about changing that story about how you word the usage around your addiction, of the words around your addiction, right? And turn it around where you spin it in a way where you take your pain and misery and you shift it to like, this is a great point where you're at to help other people because that pain and suffering that you're in and that gung-ho about wanting to get off, that is what's going to shift you to help other people because you take that pain and you direct it towards somebody else that's going through it. And then it takes your mind off of that suffering within yourself because you're able to witness it and see it within other people. Today, for example, after 6.5 years of being off drugs, today, I was helping someone for 5.5 hours. I was on the phone with, as I recognized what they were going through, as they're going through an addiction of their own. There are many forms of addiction out there. It doesn't have to just be drugs. Many forms of addiction. And this person has an addiction of their own that they are breaking free of, that I have been working with for the last few years. And this person has broken free from their addiction over 6 months. And I have created myself to be the accountability to help this person get through it for the first year. The first year is the most crucial. And so this person, as they were going through a transition, which I recognized all these little transitions, these little like spots that like people are going to hit, that they are in danger of relapsing and falling back into their addiction. I recognize that. So I spent the last 5.5 hours today on the phone with this person to help them get through this little bump that they were in and paying it forward. I know that for me, for example, that when I hit stages where like I say I cannot do it, I really mean I cannot do it. It's not a negative mindset. It's not a negative belief. It's really about like seeing myself and understanding my addiction and where it is I am and where my mind is and where like it can go, and understanding the addiction part of my mind and recognizing the loop backs of it, that sometimes we need help, and understanding that like sometimes we can't do it on our own. We really truly need someone to hold our hand. And that's the only way to do it, or we fall back. And so we have to help people. We have to be there for people. And when people tell us that like, I really need you, don't just like blow it off that like, oh, you could do it if you really wanted to. F that and F you. That's really like, it comes down to like that. It's like, you are messed up if you say that. You need to like put yourself into like an empathetic shoe place. Like this person truly is reaching out to you for a reason. They need help. And that is what I've done. I have paid back that because I remember what it was like. I know how much it sucks and how hard it is. And I'm creating a business around that now, to build around that, to remember that suffering that I went through. So I want you guys to understand the suffering that you're at right now and understand how beautiful it is. Your suffering is very beautiful. You're not able to recognize it right now because you're in the thick of it. But I guarantee you, 6 years down the road, if you put yourself on a 7-year transformational cellular body change, you are going to change. So I have someone who's commenting right now. Cindy Ingalls says, exactly, words matter. Yes. And that's the change and thought. I can't do it from this point or from this place. I need help. Huh. People need help. And when they reach out, they understand that like they're in a point where it's not about like, if you just tell someone just to do it, you could do it if you really believed in yourself. Well, that's just an excuse. I call BS on those people because they don't truly understand the mindset of an addict in deep, deep, deep addiction when someone reaches out. And so it's about being there for people. And I want you guys to remember, if you guys are suffering an addiction right now, you are in a beautiful place. If you're suffering an addiction and you recognize that you're suffering an addiction, that on some level it's hard to see when you're in it, when you're in the thick of it, but it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. There's something very beautiful and magical about that point, that timeline, that line, that point that you're in right now. The only way to go is to go up. And remember these moments, because how bad you are right now, that's how far of a change. There's like a yin and yang effect. There's a polar opposite to everything. And that extreme bottom that you're at, think about that extreme high. That's like you are going to reach to help other people, to build a business, to build things around. Like I said, my life wasn't always this way. Where I'm at now, very paranoid. I had to work very extremely hard. I was so much at a rock bottom. I was convinced myself that there was no way out. But I pushed and I fought and I climbed and I clawed and I worked. And now here I am. I'm now online building a business to help other people. And I want you to know that you can do it too. Keep in the mindset that there's always an opposite and there's better coming. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And you, my friend, may not be able to see the darkness. You may have walked yourself into hell, but keep walking. Don't stop there. You will get out and you will climb out and surround yourself with amazing people that will pull you out. Hello. I'm Mr. Michael Adams. This is Keep Inspiration Alive. I hope I gave some value into your life to inspire you to keep moving forward. Till next time.